Hey guys, TechX here. So today we're going to be taking the MJX Bugs 3 and turning it into a racing quad. But before we get started, just wanted to give a quick shout out to Product Design Maker for subscribing. Thank you for supporting me. So when we're looking at the quad here, this isn't going to be the, let's say, most powerful quad. This isn't going to be the most powerful racing quad. So I believe these motors are 1800 kV motors, whereas average, or at least the higher end I saw, were about 2500 kV, so a little bit more power. But I wanted to give you a quick disclaimer. This isn't going to be like a super amazing race drone, but I am going to be taking it, putting this into the racing drone frame, making it a little bit more aerodynamic, strapping the GoPro to it, and getting a live feed from the GoPro. So if you're looking for everything, all the parts right here, you're going to notice that I don't have any sort of Wi-Fi or RF camera or some sort of transmitter for my live video, which you kind of need in a race drone. What I'm going to do is, in order to make it a little bit cheaper, I'm going to take the GoPro, the Hero 3, and I'm going to... I recently purchased a transmitter that you plug into the side, and you put an antenna on, and it transmits a live feed from the GoPro to, let's say, a monitor, your goggles. So that I don't have here, but I will have linked. Amazon and Banggood.com both don't have it right now. They're both sold out. I had to end up buying it off eBay, so I'll have all three places linked for you, just to take a look. But it only cost me about $20, actually about $17, $18 on eBay. So let's get into it. So your parts here, I'm using the quad Firefly Pro. This is made by Firefly 1504 on Thingiverse. Again, I'll have the files linked. I just want to make sure I give him the proper credit for this. This is not my design. This is his, or hers. But I just wanted to point it out that this isn't entirely mine. This isn't mine. These parts are mine. The design isn't. So all of these parts are 3D printed parts. So when it was designed to be modular. So if I break like an arm or something, I just 30-minute print, take one out and put it back on the quad, and voila, there we go. It's back to normal. There is a website that he has that you can follow step-by-step instructions guide, but this is just going to be a quick time-lapse video of showing you all the parts and everything you might need for building this. So we have just a quick parts list. We have the front bumper here. We have the top plate. We have the bottom plate. We have machine screws, number 4 to 40 by 1 1/4 inches. The 10-piece. I'm sure you can use different ones, but I'm going to be using, to hold these screws in, I'm going to be using lock nuts, M3-0.5 metric lock nuts. Since I have 10 screws, there are 12 holes that I'm going to need, but there are, these only came in packs of 8, so I had to buy 2 of them. So I got these at Lowe's, so if you want to get it at Lowe's, then that's what you're going to have to get, or you might be able to find a better alternative. I have my 4 ESC covers, the 4 arms, vibration pads. This is optional for the camera mount. That'll go on top of this plate up here. Not to get too far ahead. Vibration plates, camera, I mean, this is optional. Again, if you have this, if you have the other, if you're not going to be using the vibration pad or the camera, you don't need to have that. And you don't need to have these other vibration pads here. So, you're also going to need a strap to hold the GoPro on. Again, that's also something that it's optional if you're going to be using the GoPro. I'm using limited parts. I'm not going to be using all the sides and everything that he has specified. I'm just going to be using these as spacers, the ESC covers as spacers here, that will keep it keep the top and bottom plates further apart. And I'm just going to be using a little bit of hot glue to put it together. I might adjust it as I'm going through the building process, but that's basically the majority of all the parts you're going to need. Another part that I ended up printing, by the same guy, I believe. This is called a vault lens. It just basically, I took like a piece of plastic, printed this black part here, took a piece of plastic, glued it on in there, and that just is going to act as a lens cover. So when it's going to strap it down, but then it's also going to, when I'm flying around, it's going to protect the glass from anything hitting it. So that's something that you might want to print. That is definitely not necessary though. So let's get into it. First, you're going to want to take your quadcopter. You're going to want to remove all 4 screws. You're going to want to remove you're going to want to remove the screws from your lights here. You're going to remove these 2 screws from each of the landing gear. Basically remove all the screws so that you can get the motor out, all 4 motors out, and the ESCs and the guts inside. One more quick thing, you might realize that I don't have any props here. That's going to be put on later, so don't freak out or anything. I don't have it included yet, so they're still on their way. Alright, so I'm going to remove the guts, and back to you in just a second. Okay, so something I've noticed as I was building the base here. I had to drill out a little area here for the antenna to go through. I might move that around a little bit. I had to remove the motors in order to make this fit a lot better. And I also noticed that when I'm placing the motors on, the ESCs won't line up directly with this. So I'm most likely going to have to line up the ESCs right on here somewhere. Maybe I'll end up just cutting some wire. I have to see what I'm going to do. But as of right now, the ESCs are only really fitting right about there. So that's where the wires are going to have to come out. Approximately where the wires are going to come out for the motor. So I might have to end up also drilling another hole out, because for this back part here, the wires won't be able to come through from the directed hole that's already there. Okay, so now once we have your arms assembled, you're going to want to head over and attach the stabilization pad to the GoPro and your lens, or however you're strapping that on. You want to attach that to your top plate here, and attach your ESCs and main circuit board to your bottom plate. Then after you do that, all you're going to do is take your ESC covers, take your bumper kit. Again, this will vary depending upon what you have and what you decide to download, what you decide to put on it. So I'm going to put this underneath. Make sure your antenna's out of the way. Wherever you decide to place that, make sure your antenna's out of the way. The bumper. And you put the bumper on. And just going to line that up. You're going to line up the ESC covers here. And then you're going to put your arm on top. So you have your bumper, base, ESC cover, arm, and then you're going to have your top plate here. I'm just going to be putting on the 2 outside screws as of right now, and I don't think I'm going to need the 3rd screw on the inside, but we'll see. And these are also spacers, which you're going to want to download and install and print them out so that you can put them in the front and have them act as, so that it'll support the front. Otherwise you're going to be putting too much weight on the front of this rig here. Okay, so now, I mean, I think it looks great. I think it looks really cool, and now it's basically just time to put the props on, but make sure the battery works. I'm gonna be putting some zip ties through here so that I can hold the battery on the top, but just gonna plug them in. Make sure this works. So right now I don't have any lights hooked up, so that's something important to remember, that's not going to be hooked up. So it seems like something's crosswired. Probably these guys right there. Okay, so let's try that again. Okay, so one of the problems that I noticed with when I was putting the arms together was that if you screw down the screws too tight, the motors aren't going to spin as easily. So that's going to put a lot of wear and tear in the motor. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to loosen these screws up just a little bit, not a lot, just enough to put a little less stress on the motors, allow them to spin a little bit more freely. There we go. And to secure them in place, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little hot glue over the ends just to make sure the screws don't end up falling out. But I don't think we'll really have a problem with that. Alright, give that another shot. Okay. Alright, seems to be working. So, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to put the battery on, and we'll install the props. Actually, install the props first. So, these are the ones I bought off of Amazon. I'll have that linked in the description. But it's called RJX Hobby 1400. Sorry, RJX 5042. 3-blade durable propeller blade, transparent, 2 pairs. So this was like these were the cheapest props. If these don't end up working, I'm gonna try to buy something else. But this is really like a quad on a racing quad on a budget. And then also, in order to secure them on, I tried to get nuts, just like regular lock nuts for the motors to hold the props on. That's not gonna work. You're gonna need to buy specific racing drone nuts. These guys are both. It has a little tool in there. It's got a little Allen wrench, and it's got reversed and regular lock nuts. So those are called the iFlight RC Drone Accessories Factory. Again, I'll have that linked on the in the description. These specific parts. So all you have to do to put them on is just find the right props. That's clockwise, so it's going to be spinning that way. So this is a matter of finding the right props for each of the motors. And then you just take, I believe it's red for counterclockwise. Yep, red for counterclockwise. And black for clockwise. So. And this does come with 4 extra. This does come with 4 extra nuts, 2 counterclockwise and 2 clockwise. These are 5mm nuts. Not that that matters too much, but if you do want to end up going online and seeing if you can find a different type of prop, then, or sorry, different type of nut, then might be what you want to do. Again, I think this came in at about $11. It was the cheapest method, so. So actually, while I was building this, I ended up messing up one of the motors. So now I have to use 3 red nuts. Or, sorry, maybe 3 black nuts. Yeah, 3 black. So that's going to depend. But you can wire these brushless motors up to go different directions, just like you can with DC motors. Make sure I have these, and I just kind of took a guess for which side I was putting these, which motor I was putting the props on for. So that's gonna be something I'm gonna have to test, make sure I have that all figured out correctly. That's pretty much it. I'm gonna get the zip ties and put it on and show you in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so after you have that on, you're definitely going to want to secure it more than just like one zip tie in there. Like you get some straps, which I do have, which I'll put on later, but just for testing purposes right now, I'm just going to put that on and I'm going to head outside and see how it does. Okay guys, so there it is, the finished product. So it did not turn out as well as I was expecting, but it did handle flying around. It did feel a lot more like a racing drone than the other one. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be contacting Drocon, the customer service, to see if I can put like larger motors or motors with higher KVs on them on here, if the ESCs and circuit board can handle it. So I think if I put those on, if I get those motors, that will increase the overall power and everything that the drone has. Also, I think if I get an upgraded battery than just a 2-cell, I think that'd work, but I could feel these motors heating up as I was using it. So stay tuned. I hope to be coming out with a update video on how to make this work even better, but as of right now, I mean, it's working pretty well. So for racing and just for practicing a little bit, this guy works pretty well, and it's more of a, as of in the state it's in, it's more of a fun, or it's more of a fun build than a more practical build, but I'm sure you could definitely use, I'm sure you could definitely get some upgraded parts on here and it'll work a lot better. So thank you guys so much for watching.